Well, I spent a lot of time here when I was going to school in Sanibel. When I came here in 1994, I went to Sanibel Elementary, and I guess the teachers in the school were pretty lucky that their school was where it is. And we used to come here all the time. We'd have little classes in the classroom, and we'd walk around on the trails and see the different kinds of birds and other kind of wildlife and trees, a lot of trees. Looking back is a very special part of my life. I think it kind of helped shape who I am in some weird way. I mean, I live in Washington now, and I'm not working around trees and birds and things like that, but I feel as though I have a unique appreciation for what this island has to offer. And to think back and say, man, I was really lucky. I really had a unique experience growing up, and I think that SCCF helped provide that to me, as well as Ding Darling and Tarpon Bay. They're special places, they really are. We do things like, what was it, Junior Naturalists, I believe is what it was called, where we'd have classroom time at Sanibel Elementary, and we'd go over the different types of shells and the different types of wildlife that one would find at SCCF or on the island. And we'd come out here and we'd look for those, and we'd have little log books, and we'd kind of, I guess, do scavenger hunts and things like that. And you'd try and find the scarlet ibis, which, well, nobody found the scarlet ibis, but the roseate spoonbill or the white pelicans, the brown pelicans, and they'd teach us about the migratory patterns of these birds. What did it teach me? And how did it? Well, I think it gave me an appreciation for conservation and maintaining nature, maintaining what we have here. And my girlfriend at the time and I weren't, seeing eye to eye. and instead of going to homecoming, we had a dance at homecoming. I came out here to Bowman's Beach, and it was probably 55 degrees, and went surfing by myself, full wetsuit, being out by myself in the Gulf off of Sanibel-Captiva. Gave me an experience and an appreciation for Sanibel-Captiva that I don't think you get when you go to the high school dance, or when you spend your time in Fort Myers going to Bell Tower or something like that. But a lot of kids for prom and big school functions like that, milestone school functions, would go, a lot of them would go to Fort Myers Beach, or they go to someone's house in town, and maybe their parents were a little lax with drinking and stuff like that, so they'd go and they'd have a party and stuff like that. But for us, my group of friends, we thought it would be way cooler to go up to Clam Bayou and try and camp out there all night. So we went to, we had prom in Fort Myers, and then we all hopped in their cars and drove all the way up. And this is like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Drove all the way up to the Lazy parking lot and got all our tents and wood and stuff like that, and trudged I guess a mile down the beach towards Bowman's, but where the dead trees are, where the bayou actually is, and build a fire and set up our tents, and we brought fishing poles and tried to catch fish, which we didn't. We were lousy at it, but I mean, I thought it was pretty neat, that this group of people that I knew that were my age had the same kind of appreciation for Sanibel, being outdoors, and the golf that I did. And I was lucky in that respect, very lucky. But I'll never forget that. Well, I just don't think that I let the tech world and the kind of that skin deep kind of existence define who I am. And I think there's more to life than that. And without living here, without coming out here as a student and going to Ding Darling as a student, I don't think I'd have that same kind of appreciation. I don't think I'd have that same viewpoint on life. You'd be out in the boat or you'd be on the beach and you wouldn't really say anything. You know, you just sit there and you'd kind of look around and you'd feel an emotion that you really kind of touched you deeper than anything you'd feel in the material world, you know? I don't know, it's a love that's hard to put your finger on. It's hard for me to describe anyway, but I love it here.